Hi, everybody. Welcome to Time for Art. We're doing something a little bit different today. We have Melissa Crary in for Hershey Petty. He is doing something else tonight. So Melissa is the one who packs your boxes and does all of our marketing and does all of our social media and figuring out some of the tech right now. And here she is.
I'm here. I'm on. Hi. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm happy to paint with you.
And so tonight we are painting the Monstera leaves. We drew these last Monday and we're going to paint them. And this one, I have the hair.
Do that again, Elsa?
Sure. Oh yeah, this was our drawing that we did on Monday.
Oh, that looks great.
And this is our reference.
Yep.
And we're gonna paint this.
You nailed it. You totally nailed it.
Right? It's what we do. And so we're gonna paint this tonight. And we're gonna talk for a minute. I have the hairdryer out because this one in particular goes a lot faster if you can dry sort of the underlayer first before we get painting. And so if everybody wants to, maybe take a little bit of time and grab a hairdryer if you're going to be painting live with us. I have our reference. The paints we're going to be using are deep green, Payne's gray, and white. We will probably use all of the brushes on this one. So I've got all these out.
Can you tell me the paint one more time?
Sure. It is deep green, Payne's gray, and covering white.
I have to tell you, I packed these kits and that is not how I was going to pronounce this. Gray.
Payne's gray. So Payne's gray, depending on the manufacturer, is a little bit more of a blue. Ours is a little bit more of an off black, but it's a really great neutral to do monochromatic paintings with. That's what this is. It's one color plus black, or in this instance, Payne's gray and white. And then we have our graphite transfer paper out. We have our outline. And in the event that you ever want to draw this and not use your outline, always encouraged, you drew it once before, you can draw it again. And we have our labels to hinge our outline to our canvas panel. So I'm just going to start and I'm going to get my labels out. And I'm going to go ahead and hinge my outline to the canvas panel. And be sure to say hi to Melissa. She's very excited to take your comments tonight.
I am here. I'm also painting.
And also painting. And then we are going to tuck in our graphite paper, waxy, shiny, sticky side down, underneath our outline, in between our outline and our canvas panel. And like we do, if you haven't done it already, because some of our subscribers do a really good job of outlining ahead of time, we are going to, with really minimal pressure, apply a little bit of pressure to our outlines and transfer our lines to our canvas panel.
This seems like a really easy one to trace.
It is. This is kind of one of my favorites because we learned a little bit about light and shadow and rendering, but it's really simplistic. And what Hershey and I were talking about last week was that this one really lends to home decor. I think it's a really beautiful painting to hang.
Monsteras are,
So Melissa doubles as a horticulturalist.
Has all the reasons.
Yeah. And I got her a planner that says Plant Lady. Did that make the move? The Plant Lady?
I can't remember. I'm going to be honest. Not everything made the move.
Not everything made the move. I know.
I recently moved and I'm still moving.
And she's still moving.
I don't know if I'll ever not be moving.
Right.
Is the answer. And I moved, you wanna know why? Because I moved 5 blocks away. I was able to do it so easily and,
Yeah. And when you do that, sometimes you don't get it done in one or.
That's never easy. So hi, everybody. Hi, Julia. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Carolyn. Yes, we are. No, we're tracing on the canvas, tracing right on the canvas, not on the journal. We're painting.
Tracing right on the canvas.
on
We were
the
just
canvas.
showing that we did a drawing in our journal before.
Yeah. And she just wanted to see what we were tracing on. And then tonight, I, in my head while packing, called these Pyrenees gray, but that's not what it is. I made that up. It's,
Sure did.
Because Allison has a great Pyrenees mixed dog. It's Payne's Gray, Green Deep. Those are the two paints tonight. Payne's Gray, Green Deep. I'll type that in.
Mm-hmm. And your white.
And your handy dandy white. So, and I'm using a pencil. It's very dark though, coming through.
It is. And the reason we use this is because it's actual graphite. And Melissa knows this because she orders all these materials too, that we use premium artist grade transfer paper that's graphite. So we're not covering up ink. And our canvas panel is really super absorbent. And so it's hard to erase this from there, but you can to a certain extent. But if you paint and then erase it, it comes right off. So
you can? I could erase this with my pencil.
It's tough on this. It's easier if it's like if it's over. If you paint first, let it dry and try and erase over it. But yeah, you can. Some of this comes up. See, I've softened.
I'm pressing so hard. I doubt mine would.
But it is. That's more because of what you've transferred it to than what the material is.
Right.
And to everyone just joining us, we are using our hair dryers tonight, just because it just makes for this particular painting makes it a lot easier if you get it dry, you get some paint in first and then you let it dry and you go from there. All right, so the first thing I've got is our Green Deep, and we're going to use this generously. So I've got kind of a double drop. We measure our paints in frozen peas, and I'd say this is like 2.5 frozen peas I've got going on here. And I'm just going to dip my brush in some water and just to loosen up the bristles. I'm using my medium brush right now. And, but we're pretty much going to paint this kind of straight up into our Monstera leaves.
So we're doing 2 peas.
2.5 for now.
2.5.
Like a split pea, if you will.
Well.
And we're just going to kind of paint in our.
Oh, I love this green. It's like a Kelly green.
It is a Kelly green.
Kelly green's very in right now.
Kelly green is always a favorite color of mine.
Should we wet our brush a little bit?
I did. Yes, I moistened my brush, but I'm not really loosening the paint a whole lot because I want this to put in. I can still see my lines through it if you look really carefully.
Yeah. Just get it, just dab it, get it wet, and then everything will run a little better.
Right. And I'm being mindful of my edges, but we're going to come in and do the background next. And a lot of times we start with the background first, but I want this to dry. So I'm starting with the background of my leaves. That's how I'm doing it.
And I'm just going over everything, right?
Over everything. We're just going to do a really solid layer.
What brush are you using? I'm doing medium.
My medium brush.
Same.
But whatever works. Some people like to be really forceful about sometimes using a bigger brush or using a smaller brush. To me, that's ridiculous. Don't do it.
Yeah. How do you feel about these new brushes?
I think they're great. We went with we had to get a different brush manufacturer, and they're a little bit fuller. They've got more bristles.
Like it?
Very much.
Okay, good. Good to know. And all you subscribers out there want to know what you think about when we switch up. We had to switch up the brushes. We switched up the journals a little bit. We're still kind of figuring out the best.
Figuring out journals.
Yeah. We love how these look.
Yeah. The paper just isn't quite as heavy as we'd like it to be.
Yeah.
But we also think that because it's hard to fill a journal in a month, that sometimes it's better to get a smaller journal. So we're throwing around that idea. So I've moved on to my other monstera leaf. I'm just going to be mindful of the edges, but we want a really nice, even base coat that we're going to build up on from there.
I've kind of noticed you're really packing the paint on. I'm not. Maybe I should. I'm really making a little go a long way.
So the point of this step, and it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, is so that we fill in all the holes so our paint doesn't look patchy as we build up from there.
I should maybe switch to my large brush.
And you most certainly can.
I'm just worried that I'll go out of the lines.
I'm going out of the lines. We're going to clean all that up later.
You're more confident than I am, though.
I might. I've done it a few more times. Melissa's an excellent artist, though. And not just with two-dimensional art, but she just designed and is in the process of selling one of the most beautiful kitchens I've ever seen.
I had some help designing that.
And it's stunning and got a lot of attention.
We definitely, I think I like materials and that stuff. I'm a little better than that than this. Carolyn, yes, we're only doing green deep right now.
Only green deep and kind of straight out of the tube. I'm gonna need a little more, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I needed a whole 3 Ps this time.
You know, I didn't even listen to the piece and just did as much as I needed since it's one color. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Once I started watching you, I was like, okay,
I got this.
Test this for myself.
And this is why we send you more than enough paint, because we don't want you to worry about running out or not having enough. Or
you know what I am curious of, Allison?
Yeah.
And you'd be able to answer this for me too, but anyone else answer as well. Do you use the full white in a month?
No, definitely not.
Got it. So you always have a little bit extra.
If we could, so we worked really hard to find a really good white, and Melissa knows this because she was a big part of it. And this really good white we found and we could afford, but it just comes in the size, and there's not a lot we can do about it. So we have more than enough. And if you're painting on your own,
because then they can reuse it a little.
Yeah, and if you're painting on your own or you have another project, white's a good thing to have more than enough of, and we talk about that a lot. But I
never believed you that other whites weren't good until I tried it with other whites.
Just doesn't work. All right, so here's my super dense base coat on our 2 monstera leaves. I'm gonna wash out my brush, and I am going to, it's almost dry, but I want it super dry for just this purpose. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with my hairdryer.
I'm gonna get my hairdryer. Please hold. You know what? I decided against the hairdryer due to my puppy. So, Ruth, you're still on your first white tube from March. Very good to know.
What was that? What are we getting?
Ruth is still on her first white tube from March.
And see, there you go.
Very good to know. Thank you for letting me know about that.
So we're going to go actually just back into where we were here, and we're going to add a touch of green more to this. And then maybe another P of the Payne's Gray. And as you can see on ours, it's just kind of an off black. I'm losing my lid here.
So we're going to do 1 and 1.
Hold it up. Yeah. We got a touch of green. We've got our black, and we're going to put in a kind of maybe 4 P's worth of white. And I'm going to use that same brush I was using. Let's put some green on it. And we're going to mix this guy together. depending on how green you want this, because I don't want it to be straight up black and white. I want it to have some green in it. I'm going to add a little bit more green. Certainly dealer's choice, but
I'm definitely more green than it is gray.
I don't want it to look unnatural. And the way light bounces around, there'd be some reflected green in the background. So that's got a little bit of green in it. And I am going to start in all of the kind of tricky areas and get that in first.
Mine's looking like a mint green.
Cool.
Not as gray. That's
it's whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. I'll allow it.
Christy and I were also talking about how most of our backgrounds have not been just sort of this like kind of backdrop like this is. So that's a little bit different on this meeting. I guess our macarons were kind of a backdrop, but we think it's kind of modern and different that we're kind of working this way. So I'm just kind of working my way around. It's always easier to pull a line than it is to push a line.
I think I'm going to suggest for this, use your bigger brush.
Well, definitely use your bigger brush for the bigger areas. I'm just using this for the smaller areas. But Melissa's exactly right.
I'm gonna get that out here.
And so Melissa, with your Monstera leaves, you get some of these fun little cutouts, right? With age, right? They evolve to that.
Well, to be honest, it depends. Like my first Monstera, my first maybe 4 or 5 leaves didn't have holes, and then they just started coming, and then I gave Hershey a cutting of mine, and his first one had like 12 holes.
He was kind of braggadocious about that.
Definitely is proud. You should see his Monsteras now. I think the Tucson heat really
helps him.
I've also given cuttings of mine so much that my original is just,
yeah.
Unless it's outside, once you cut from it, it's just kind of never the same.
Right.
It's a lie. My friend gave me a cutting of it 6 years ago.
It's like the sisterhood of the traveling Monstera.
I'm gonna see them again soon. I should get another cutting. They're in San Diego. They have an incredible yard.
Melissa has an incredible yard now in her new house. And her dog really thinks so.
We did until the day we moved in.
They had some really like a couple of fruit trees, right? You have fruit trees and some raised beds.
The fruit trees are still there, but there were raised beds with tomato plants and yellow squash and all the stuff that we thought was really cool, and we're excited. We were fine. We'll water it, and then our dog just kind of took it as a breakfast buffet, all day buffet.
Actually, an all day buffet. It's the Vegas all day buffet,
and then once we did our best, and then once we were in the pet ER for 6 hours, we realized that it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Can't have the all day buffet.
He's still upset. He's still looking for it.
If you're Norman Conti, yeah. All right, so I'm just going around the perimeter here with my gray. And then another trick with acrylic paints that we talk about from time to time, but we'll hit it tonight, is it looks a lot of times really nice to put light over dark and not dark over light, because sometimes dark over light can look kind of patchy. And that's kind of what all these moves that we're doing tonight are kind of getting us away from. We don't want it to look patchy. We want it to look really thick and rich, and the transitions to be really lovely. So
I did not have enough gray.
Happens. Mix more.
At the beginning.
I would say for Melissa to join us to paint tonight, this is a perfect theme.
Yeah. I also am so specific. I only want to do things that are colors I like. And green's one of my colors.
Always has been.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to switch to my bigger brush now that I've kind of gone around the whole thing. And kind of generously scrub some of this in there. Just like that. And then our next move is going to be to kind of dry this and then go over it with a lighter tone with some white and some more green in it to just get some of this variation that's in our background.
I need to.
And so it's one of the reasons why I got the hairdryer out.
Cheryl, you often run out of paint well before. Even the white, Cheryl?
Interesting. Good to know. We're thrilled to hear you using that much paint.
My second gray's so much better.
Oh, but maybe not. You know,
It's more gray. My first is really a mint green, if I'm being honest.
Well, then save that and use it on the second paint.
It's out. Used it.
Done with that. Got it. Okay.
If there's anything about me, as you know, I am not a perfectionist.
And nor should you be when in something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to move a little bit of the paint that I have on here around with a little bit of water because I've got plenty of paint on here. And so anywhere I see little white areas, I'm just going to kind of move. I don't need more paint. I just need to spread what I have. Just like this. And the theme this month is tranquility. Melissa, do you have anything to say about tranquility? What it means to you?
I could use more in my life.
I could use more in my life. Certainly that.
Oh, I see. Oh, the mix is in your tray. Yeah, I agree, Cheryl. I use way more. Allison's very good at making paint work. And with the peas, same.
Mm-hmm.
She needs bigger peas too. Same, me too. But she has plenty of white as well. Good to know.
But bigger tubes would be helpful, is what she's saying? Because what we usually okay.
No, she's saying using more paint than you use. Like you make your 1P, 2P work.
I see.
I can't make your peas work like that. And it sounds like I look at what you do and I automatically add more.
Like what? I gotcha. Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of evening this out. And then I'm going to reach for my hairdryer and we're going to kind of take a pass at this. Like this.
Are you putting it on mute? That's genius.
All right, so this is mostly dry. I'll say that. And then the next thing we're going to do with our background is kind of work with what we have here. But for me, I'm going to add a little bit more green, maybe a piece worth, and some white.
You're adding that to the same. You're adding that to the
I have left over. Yeah. And again, this is not going to make or break anything you do. That's too green. We'll add a little Payne's Gray to that. The idea being this is going to be a lighter, maybe greener version. Anyone ever had a mint Oreo blizzard? It's kind of this color because it's got some of the
that was my first gray.
I told you to hang on to it.
Well, I used it. If I was able to, I would. I'm going live on Instagram first.
I'm going light over dark on here. And that's just to give it some variety. And because the light's kind of coming from above, I'm putting my lights. And it's okay if you get some of this into your leaves. Putting some of my lights up kind of on the top part of the composition. Just like this. We're going for some texture here. And then I'm just kind of blending it with a little bit of water. And then I'm probably going to go even lighter. So I'm just dropping some white right back into there. And just work in.
Let's talk about what you're doing now. You're working on the background.
Yes, I'm working on the background. I'm folding in some lighter tones. I dried it kind of mostly. So, but we're just giving the background some texture. We're building up some color. And I'm not worried too much about the contours of my leaves because I can get those back with my transfer.
Ruth, you've given away extra tubes of acrylic paint. We need to, good to know.
Good to know.
There's all this extra paint. It's good.
So eventually, as we grow, we'd like to be able to sort of made to order our paint, but we're kind of at the mercy of what we can get. And that's, you need a quality white. Everybody understands that. And so this is the size quality white.
Yeah.
All right. So sometimes you can't see this with the glare. This is kind of what the top part of my painting looks like. It's darker at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and dry this again.
Oh, you're drying.
All right, so that's not completely dry. But it's
when you go away and dry, can you hear me or
no, were you talking to me?
No, I was just wondering if I wanted to.
No. Which is why we don't do a lot of this, but this particular painting lends to it. So I'm just gonna put another one, my green deep in another well. And I'm gonna reach for that same medium brush and I'm just going to establish my contours again, just with the green deep. And if you want to retransfer this, you can, but this is kind of one of those things where we've drawn this once, I transferred it once. I know where that is. So I'm just going to kind of paint in with where I know it is.
And you're just doing
lines.
green.
What's that? Just green. The lines I kind of might have lost. Is that my nephew Norman?
Yeah. The neighborhood dogs like to entice everyone.
It's like the Twilight bark.
Yeah, someone else started it and he just went like he barked while he lay back down. Poor little baby.
All right, coming around this way.
I'm a little behind you here, so I'm just going to do green by itself.
Green by itself, just to establish our contours again. Down here like this. Same thing over here.
Have you ever had a problem where your brush doesn't wash all the way off?
Yeah, we've done brush cleaning on here. I believe at Ruth's request, it was a really good idea. And so soap and water, actually.
Just no, like while I dipped it in, the paint's still on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm coming around this way. Just like this. And that is, I've reestablished my leaves here. And this is where this painting just really comes together. Is we're going to start with our darks. And then we're going to build up to our lights. And it's just kind of, we're just mixing a couple simple colors. So the first one, I'm going to do this in a different well, one, because we have plenty of wells, and two, because I don't want any of this to get into that. So I've got about 2 peas of green deep, and we're going to go 1 pea of Payne's Gray. And we're going to mix these guys together. And so this is this kind of really deep, moody green. I love it. It's like the shadows of an emerald. And then I'm going to take a drop of this, put it in here, and add another 2 peas of green deep. Mix these guys together.
Okay.
Same routine over here, a drop of that.
To make another one. Got it.
We're going to do 3 times. 2 peas of green deep. Mix these together, and there we are.
Okay.
All right. So Melissa, what are the darkest areas of these 2 leaves?
It's a quiz now.
She's really good at this and doesn't complain.
I don't know the bottoms.
So like right in here, perfect. How about over here? What are your darkest areas?
Can you point to where?
Like along here, around here, up in here, over here, over here. Yeah, so all of this area, this area, this area, this area, this area right here, along here, right here, right here, and around here. So we're gonna put those in first with this dark I've got mixed up. So along here, I'm actually going to switch to my small brush. Along here. And the reason we painted our leaves first is, do you see how this is kind of translucent because it's acrylic paint?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still going to be dark because we're going over something we already put a base coat in.
I'll be honest, mine isn't looking so hot.
We'll just give it a minute. And then over into here. So along here, around here. Over here. We're hitting our darks first. And the reason we hit our darks first is that will establish light and dark from our base tone. And we'll already have some depth to take a look at. So along here, over in here.
I didn't make mine as watery as you did. Can I just add a little water?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, always.
I don't know.
Around.
This isn't my best.
Well, the good news about this is you let the paint dry and you go back in.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Around here. But we're only hitting our darkest dark areas. Just like this. Down here. This kind of works because we put in our base coat and we let it dry. All right, that's looking good for my darkest darks on this side. And I got a little watery down here. So I'm going to kind of reestablish the stem and this stem. All right, darkest darks over here are around here. Over here.
I went a little rogue and
Awesome.
I started before you
on
my dark areas.
Awesome. Okay.
Mistake.
Was it? We're all about, here's the thing. That's the point of this.
Yeah.
It's not copy and paste. I am going to show you how I do this and my process and how that works. And this is about enjoying painting and giving something a try and doing something different. And please, may these not all look the same. So
I can guarantee you mine will not look like a copy and paste. This would pass. You know, in high school, they give you that, they run it through the.
Like the grade, like I bet that's gotten really hard. It's probably really,
what's it called,
really,
though?
Is it hard to plagiarize now? Probably.
Plagiarism scanner thing. Mine would pass and I did not plagiarize.
It's all right. So a little bit of background. Melissa and Hershey worked together and lived together for how many years?
We lived together for 2, but we worked together on and off for a while. We started in restaurants together and then we worked in production together too.
So
we met almost 8 years ago.
Yeah. And so Hershey,
almost 8 years.
Hershey is a Crary because Melissa met Hershey 8 years ago and started working with them.
It's true.
And we kept him from there.
Now mine's looking more like a different kind of leaf.
Okay. All right. All right. We're going to move on to the next color that we mixed, this kind of in between. And that's going to be in all of these other areas. So this area over here gets some of this.
Let me see.
This area over here.
Cheryl said it's looking so cool. Thank you, Cheryl. You know what I'm finding is don't be afraid to use more water.
Awesome. Yeah. This area over here. Gets a little more love over here at these dark areas. So these are the dark areas, but they're not, they're your darkest darks. And that's what I'm filling in right now. Melissa, is it fun after you put these together and do all the work to get to paint?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like being able to see, you know,
how it all works.
It's not an artistic process, you know.
So I'm going up in here with this one. Along this edge, maybe. Below this stone.
I'm a lot better at putting it together than this.
More of a supply chain expert.
Yeah, I'm a lot better. The systems and the coordination of all of that is definitely more my strong.
All right, so I'm filling this in over here. This along here.
Yeah, mine's more of a Monstera without holes.
You can put the holes back in.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it though.
Acrylic paint, you just paint over it. Now watercolor can't. Not how it works. Acrylic paint, oh yeah, that's why we use it. Very forgiving stuff.
Is oil paint forgiving?
Very.
Really?
Oil painting is one of the, oh yeah, oil painting is easy. It just takes a lot. It's a lot.
People are so impressed with oil paint though.
Yeah, it's, in my opinion, actually an easier medium to work with. It's just more work. It's just not more work. It's more parts, more, you need turpentine. It's really toxic, can blow up. Can't really throw it out like it. Oils, but no, oil paint blends so well. It's just an easier medium to work with, in my opinion. And someday, hopefully we'll get to use it. We'll have an oil painting.
I don't know if I've ever done oil paint.
I'm kind of like, once you go oil, you don't go back. But there's a lot to do with acrylic paint, and the immediacy of acrylic paint is what
have I ever done oil paint? You know.
I don't know if you have. Have you with me?
No.
All right, so I've painted in all these areas with my medium green. Just like that. And this other green that we mixed, I'm going to drop some white in the middle, and just to make it more opaque, I'm going to take a touch of this white, a speck, a twinge, and add it to this green. And it's just going to make it a little bit, it's going to make it a little bit lighter, but really more opaque, milkier.
Okay, so let's just say that again. The third green that you made, you're going to add.
I added a speck, a dash, a smidge of white too.
I'm already going to add more.
All right. And I'm just going to kind of, I don't want to say fill in the rest of it, but kind of everything that still has a base coat to it, I'm going to kind of give a little bit of this too. And then we'll come in and do our highlights. And then
that was a mistake. Now I'm back to mint green.
Yeah, that's maybe why you just have done a smidge. That's okay. Nothing wrong with
the other colors I need to be more, yeah.
So I'm just kind of filling in. the rest of our leaf here. And then there'll be one more pass with the hairdryer. And I think we will actually wrap up these leaves in an hour. Sometimes our paintings go an hour and a half.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And when you hit the hairdryer, I'm just going to talk a little about, we want to hear from you guys. I've heard from a few people, you know, that they love it so much, but in the summer or other things have come up, time constraints, they want to make sure they have enough time. And so we just want to hear from you. How do you feel?
Yeah. What's your experience? What would you change?
If, you know, would you rather sign on for a 3-month class, a 6-month class? Do you like that it's monthly? Do you like that it's twice a week? We're just kind of interested.
All of that is very interesting to us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to recap here what I've got. I've filled in the rest of my leaves. Now, other times when we go an hour and a half, it's because we need it to do all the work. The reason we're pulling out the hairdryer in this case is if we didn't, we'd just be watching paint dry, which I am firmly of the opinion that that's gotten a bad rap. And I've watched paint dry plenty of times and had a more than pleasant experience with it. It's usually used to tell something's boring.
My additional green really didn't work out.
Sorry to hear it. I don't know what to tell you.
It's a dark Payne's gray.
Okay. So you're going to get out your green. You're going to add a little bit of black, of the Payne's gray to it. And then you're going to add a little bit of white. And that's going to be your medium green. Okay. All right. So here we are. This is where we are at this point. I am going to give it a pass with a hairdryer. And then we're going to mix up some lighter tones.
Okay. And everyone, if you can tell me, you can message me, you can tell us on here just what, you know, everyone that's here, we love you guys and you come all the time, but what works best for you? Because we're trying to make a model that really works for people, for what people really want to do. And, you know, I know everyone loves doing it, wants to be here, but people feel like if they can't make the lives, they'll miss it. So like, do you ever go on later and repaint? Do you ever miss it and then catch up later? Tell us what you think, because we appreciate you. And I'm just going to share mine here. It's a total mess up. I also can't see it yet, but I'm just hoping to get that darker green better here.
All right.
While you were gone, Elsa, I shared mine. It's
yeah, beautiful. What's wrong with it?
No holes.
Then you're gonna go back and put the holes in. So what you can do is you can take your outline and fold it back over when it's dry and outline those areas and then fill in the holes with some gray. Easy peasy. All right. So now I'm just gonna recap. We have our Monstera leaves and we filled in kind of the local color, which is the base color, and our darks. And every time you dry your painting, it's going to dry a little bit differently than you see it. And it's going to dry both more translucent and darker. And so I see some patchiness along the edge that I'm going to first take care of. And I'm going to actually do it with my darkest dark, because that's kind of what's going on right here. So I'm just going to pull a line along this edge.
And what do you make? What is that? What color?
Of the dark kind of gray-green. And I'm just going to crisp up this line before I mix my other stuff. So this will dry as we mix. Here. So it's another reason you might like to use a hairdryer sometimes is so that you'll see it dry more quickly and you'll see some of the maybe like kind of irregularities or sort of differences than you were anticipating your painting looking like. Along here is actually more of this color. So I'm going to switch it to this color. But I'm just cleaning up these edges, and clean edges, kind of a cheater's trick, is a way to make your work look a little bit more polished and a little bit less like student work. But not everything. When I went to art school, it was all about craft, and you could have something really, really great, and then they'd beat you up on like fingerprints in the margins, and it's not our brand.
No, this is that.
Not our deal. But keeping these lines especially clean can go kind of a long way. So I'm just going to do that along here too. Just like this. And if you could let us know what your favorite themes were, and actually even better if you didn't like certain themes, I'm really interested in hearing what those were. So we like to play the hits here.
Mm-hmm. Well, not everything, you know, like I love green. I loved what we did for the confections kit. Mm-hmm. Those are just not my colors.
Yeah, that's another
thing. It looks so cool. It's just not, I would never put that so
good. House. Yeah. All right, now we're gonna mix up some highlight colors. All right, so we're gonna take our green and call that like a pea and a half. And we're gonna put in some white, maybe a half pea. And mix that up. Looks like this. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take a drop of this, put in kind of another half pea of white. A little more. And these are the next two colors we're gonna use, and then we'll use some straight up white. Okay. So the first one we're gonna go to is our medium green. This one right here, the first one we mixed up. And this is gonna go a little bit right here.
Cheryl, good point. You could probably save on white with 3-month kits.
That is a good point.
So you're saying if we sent the kit that had 3 months worth of supplies in it, I was thinking send it every month for 3 months, but I kind of like that better.
Or you get like a starter pack and then we send you as you go.
Yeah, but think if it was already 3 months.
You have everything you need.
Give everything you need, and then you can use your paint, you know, then we don't have to say, oh shoot, where did I put my, everything's kept together. Yeah. Same with Alice and I talked about pencil sharpeners.
I think those pencil sharpeners are so small, it is helpful to get one a month, but maybe not everyone has the same problems I do. All right, so I'm just putting my medium green, I put it along here, I put it down here. And I put it over here. Along this edge right here. And then we can start, we're gonna hit it with our highlight at the stem.
I just think you always use more water than I do.
Maybe.
Can you let me know when you're getting water?
Okay, I can do a better job of that. Good catch. All right, down here, get some of this. All through this area, it's gonna get this medium green.
Yeah, when I use more water, it's better.
So maybe we should work on having the water. It would be a little bit of a different configuration, but maybe the water needs to be on camera.
I really think that'd be, and maybe other people don't have this problem. I'm not a painter, obviously, but I that's what I'm having trouble with, because I'm just going full paint every time.
Yeah.
Unless we change colors, I'm full paint.
Okay, so that's something we should either do a better job of communicating or
something I could think about.
Showing. All right, so I've put now this medium green we mixed up in here, over here, right here.
Water is the secret, Cheryl. That's right.
Over here. So one of the reasons I added a little bit of water to it just now. I included Monstera leaves for tranquility is because I think they're one of the most beautiful forms just by themselves. Not an arrangement, not in a vase, just as they are is just so interesting and elegant and simple.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Around here. And then I'm going to go in with just water and just kind of blur some of these edges. Just move the paint around that I already have on my canvas. And I'm just going to blur some of the edges and just kind of let them melt into the paint that we already have. Then I'm going to go in and put in my stems with the medium, even though it will get lighter, but we'll build that up. So there's the stem, kind of sharpen your brush. If you haven't learned how to sharpen your brush, get your brush nice and wet, and you kind of squeegee it to a point. Just like that. And I'm going to take my medium green here, and I'm going to pull a line down the middle. And the veining, you kind of catch a vein here, over here, right here. This might be a vein or just a highlight, but goes in the same way. Right here. Highlight here and along here. All right. So just want to show everybody where this is and make sure everybody can see it with what we have. A few of these I'm going to actually pull out to a little bit of a finer tip, just like this. And then we're going to reach for our lighter tone and go in to kind of all of our highlighted areas, which is right here, right here, right here, right here. I said we were going to wrap this up at 8 o'clock. We're getting close. Through here. Catching the light right here. Here.
And this is just white, right?
Nope, this is our lightest green that we mixed up. Here. Just gonna use a little bit of water and just kind of move around what I've got. And then we'll go in with just white in the end, any place you want to really hit a highlight. Right here. Right here. Right here. 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 Here.
See, again, I'm not using enough water, but I think
along here.
there we go.
Right here. And then our veining, like we did before, I'm actually gonna add a little bit more white to this. And I'm going to pull this line.
Are you just white?
I added some more white to the green for this, for the veining. So right here. Same thing over here. This kind of center stem vein really catches the light. And then any place you just want to add a little bit of white to, which is basically what I've got going on here. I'm almost at pure white. Just add a little bit of white. So right here.
You know, I didn't use a hair dryer, so since my stuff isn't totally dry, I'm just using white and it's working.
Well, yeah. And so that's because your process is a little bit different. A little bit right here. Right here. The light kind of catches this, it kind of cascades across here. So I want to kind of do that all at once. So I want to hit this, 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 and this, and this. The same way. Here, the same way. I want a really clean highlight on the stem. And just do a little bit of maintenance in the end. Anywhere you might want to blur a line with just a little bit of water. I'm going to do it kind of in here. I want to remind everybody of our template challenge. And if you want to start posting those to the group along with, we want to see your Monstera leaves, we want to see your drawings. Template challenge is tell a story using one or as many templates as you'd like.
Kind of.
Blurred lines along here. All right, I'm going to call mine done. I just want to show everybody what I've got. Here are the Monstera leaves. I'm going to go ahead and sign it.
Ruth, I like the buildup too. I'm just not as good as you guys are. My buildup has changed my coloring. But I'd love to see your guys. So I'll show mine. And a little bit of a problem over here recently.
So I know you didn't dry your stuff, and you might have a lot of, I mean, I think your stuff was a little bit more blended because it wasn't dry underneath, but they look beautiful.
You know, I also think I did not use enough white. like, water.
Okay.
I've painted with you before and I haven't felt that way. And this one really felt.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next Monday.
I wanted to say one more time to everybody, message me, let me know. Cheryl, you've had some great insight. Yeah. Anyone, we just want to know, we appreciate everybody so much that shows up for these and paints with us, and just keep giving us, we want all the feedback always.
Okay. Absolutely. And we're going to draw the lotus next Monday.
Drawing lotus.
We finished Monstera, drawing and painting, and we're going to draw the lotus. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining us. Melissa was awesome tonight. Thank you for filling in for Hershey. And yeah, everybody enjoy their weekend.
I'm calling mine done too.
Okay. Beautiful. I love it. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.